Okay, so I'm going to show you how to get started with Cubase. The first thing we're going to need to do is set up a new file. So we go up to where it says File and click on New Project. This is also known as a session in other programs like Logic or Pro Tools. You want to do Empty and click OK. Then we're going to save it to Music Text Sequencing folder. Choose, click OK. Right then, as you'll know from the handout and wall chart that you've got, these are the tools which we'll get into more depth later on. Always leave this button on, it's the snap to grid. You'll find it becomes very useful. The other thing you'll need to know about is the transport bar, which is this thing here. The transport bar has all the basic functions on it: record, play, stop, that means loop, and these ones are backwards and forwards. The rest of it we'll get into a bit later on. The tempo you can set by making sure it says fixed and not track, so you want it on fixed and then you can set it by double clicking on it. And the thing that was really important to have on is the click. It's absolutely essential to have the click on when you're recording. So when you press play, you have something to play to. Okay, so let's get on by setting up a track. To set up a track in Cubase, the first thing you do is go up to Project. Then you drop down Add Track. Now we're going to add an instrument track. It's not an instrument in terms of a live instrument, it's a virtual instrument. So I click Instrument and it brings up a whole load of configurations. Now this part here is a browser. This whole thing. As you can see, it's got a ton of categories from accordion all the way down to woodwinds. I just want to put in a lead synth, so I'm going to go to synthesizer or synth lead, click on that, and you see it gives me all sorts of other things that I can use. I can either do it by style, by character, or subcategory. All I'm going to do is go over here now. This is where you find the sound you want. And you can either do that by clicking on it and just selecting it, or I'm just going to try playing them first of all on my keyboard. So apparently that's Anna, sounding very nice there. Or Artist. So I'm going to choose Artist because it sounds something like some sort of bad rave. Click OK. Then Cubase, once you've clicked OK, Cubase should set up the track. And here it is, Artist. You can rename that if you want to, so I'm going to rename it straight away by double clicking on Artist and calling it Lead Synth. It will only play if this red record enable button is down. It doesn't mean it will record onto the track, it means it will enable the recording, so you need it on. I'm playing my keyboard at the moment, nothing's happening. But if I press this on, so you need this on. Don't worry about this monitor, it doesn't matter for the time being. M is mute, S is solo. These top ones clear all the mutes, clear all the solos. Now, something I want to show you which is really important is the input and the output. If you click on here, this is all your inputs. The inputs show you where you can get your inputs from. I've got it on all MIDI inputs. That means any keyboard connected to this computer will run it. Here's your output. Now, I can change my output to other things, other MIDI controllers. At the moment it's controlling the virtual instrument Halium 1, but I could get it to control, for instance, Stylus, which I've got on my computer, or Bandstand as well. If I want to see the instrument I'm controlling, I click on this thing here, which is meant to look like keys, edit instrument, and it should pop up. And it gives me the name of it, Artist. So although I've named it Lead Synth, the sound I'm using is Artist. This is specific to the track I'm on. So when I play it, I actually change the sound, for instance. So if I wanted to change the glide sound, set up properly on the outputs. The reason being that if you don't set them up properly, you won't hear anything. I'm going to try making another synth now, but this time I'm going to set it up in a different way. You might want to try this way when you're using a multi-timbral instrument. That's one with more than one MIDI channel. So the other way to set up a virtual instrument is you go to Devices, then you go to VST Instruments or press F11, and then we click here in the No Instrument bit and we're going to add an instrument. Now I'm going to add a synth, and I'm going to add probably something like an embracer because that sounds amazing. Now what I don't want to do is assign a track to this. You'll see why in a second. So I'm going to cancel the track, and it gives me an embracer. This is the instrument. This is not the track. This is the instrument. Now at the moment it's set on warm bath. So I'm just going to see what else it's got. I fancy some Blair Witch Project, so I click that. Now I'm going to click off it for the time being, and here for the time being. Now watch this. This is the output for the embracer, but you can't play it. See? Can't play the embracer yet. It's only the output for it. So what I'm going to do is set up a blank MIDI track. Not an instrument track, which is this one, but a MIDI track. So I'm going to add track and MIDI track. One MIDI track. And here I'm going to name this Blair Synth. Then, to activate the Blair Synth, I've got it. I'm going to play it using my normal keyboard, which is all MIDI inputs. But then on the output, just here, you see, you get the chance to play the embracer. That's what I'm going to do. So I click on this, and it will now play the embracer. Otherwise it won't play it. That's how to get started with sounds and audio in Cubase.